If I had an advice to give to potential students who want to do their studies in anthropology and archaeology is basically to, besides looking at anthropology, which I'm sure you will be taking courses on that and being a good part of your courses, if particularly you want to specialize in the archaeology side of things, my recommendation is to also look for a specialty within that field that would allow you to have a skill that can also often go beyond being an archaeologist or serving archaeological purposes. Most of these, of course, are in the field, for example, of identifying provenience of materials. There's a whole field, for example, of archaeometallurgy that is becoming quite important. There's fields on paleobotany. You have to look at the archaeological record that humans create by, if you want to understand global climate changes, so that you can become not just an archaeologist for studying the past, but the future. What we can get out of the deep past has an impact on today. So these things of maintaining an eye on what we usually call the hard sciences are contributing, but you as an archaeologist taking the baton for how humans have affected different areas, or particularly in the environment and in the landscape, that require this knowledge of biological and natural sciences is particularly, I think, relevant as a background for being a complete archaeologist. Knowing how to ask questions to the biologists, to the geneticists, it's part of what makes us be very aware of the advances in science. Some of the most fantastic ones in recent years for me has been the ability now of being able to identify through microplant remains, which is basically something called the starch that the plants carry, that you can actually identify the plant species. And that this starch, unlike pollen that tends to blow in the wind and so on, can only, let's say, fall off the plant by somebody crushing it. And so it stays on the instruments. And so you can relate the instruments and what they were processing. But the discovery of that is an interesting story because it has to do with Johnson & Johnson, the powder makers. And it took an archaeologist who was very well versed on the plant botany to make the connection between, wait, these people are sampling all sorts of plants and things around the world for the best starch to produce talcum powder from, say, maize or corn. Why don't we use it for archaeological sampling? And that's the lesson that, although not, this is a new development, I got from looking at different fields that you would normally think are disciplines that might be quite away from what archaeologists do. I could, take it to medical sciences, to health, nutrition. So it is crucial to have this sort of science and humanities combination of knowledge, even if you don't specialize on it. It's knowing how to ask the question and recognize what's a useful method or approach to answer the questions that you have in mind.